Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. I don't think there's any way to deny the fact, especially if you're looking objectively, if you're being honest, if you're not something that's being completely and totally diluted by a lot of the things that are going on out there and the agenda that's being pushed into every single aspect of our pop culture, whether that be comic books, whether that be video games, whether that just be the modern era and how a lot of these characters are represented and the kind of changes they've made either to their character's backstory or whether it be a race swap or a gender swap or any of a lot of kind of craziness that's been going on. Well, one of the biggest issues that a lot of people have had is the uglification of a lot of our beautiful female protagonists that we've had over the years. You can talk about Power Girl, and of course, in the comic books out there, you can talk about Rogue and the latest X-Men, the animated series from the Disney Plus group over there. Or, of course, you can talk about Lara Croft and video games and what they've done to her over the last few years. And it's one of them situations where it's just so maddening, it's so boggifying that they just want to make everything ugly. And there's a lot of different reasons out there. There's a lot of different excuses out there for doing it. But the real question is why? Where did this come from? How did this all start? Well, ladies and gentlemen, our dear sweet friend out there, Grums, on social media, on all of his platforms out there, including our lovely X, decided to put out there some information. He dug up some backstory because this is a guy that's been in the industry for a long time, especially in the video game industry and the development industry. So he's seen a lot of these changes in the background and where a lot of the sources for this kind of stuff came from. And he has now, boys and girls, found us the exact material, the exact blueprint they have used for the uglification of all of our characters, all of our beautiful female protagonists for over a decade at this point, boys and girls. And once you see these pictures, once you see this evidence, once you see this list of insane excuses they come up for doing all of this kind of nonsense, you will realize that exactly this is all true. And this is absolutely where it all came from, because boys and girls, you cannot deny it once you see those pictures. So here we go. We've got our dear sweet Grums over here on Twitter. Found it. This is the guide that was lauded in 2016 by a DC Comics artist. Yes, boys and girls, all the way back to 2016 is when we can trace the specific materials that they use as a justification and an excuse to uglify all of our beautiful and wonderful protagonists out there. So there's 3 different pictures right here that have got a list of the entire little documentation here, the entire little article that they went through, and the guide as to how they do this and their justifications as to why. So we're going to go over all this. We're going to get into all the juicy details. We're going to show you the pictures up close so that way you can see how we can exactly show you this is being represented to this very day, right down to our dear sweet Rogue over at the X-Men, the animated series. So boys and girls, before we get into all of this and get into all the Grums' juicy little evidence, if you do enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already, share or subscribe and or follow if you have not, because all of that stuff really does help keep the channel below. And let us know what you think about all of this in the comments down below. Do you feel this is an exact representation? Do you think I'm completely and totally off the mark? Do you think there's other documentation out there like this? Or do you think we are just grasping at straws? All right. So boys and girls, from our dear sweet Grums, which remember, Grums, official Twitter of Mark Gurn, CEO and designer, former team lead for OG World of Warcraft, producer, Diablo 2, StarCraft, Chrono Trigger is the best game. So needless to say, the guy's got some credentials, ladies and gentlemen. This is a literal blueprint for every AAA game, comic now uses to de-feminize characters. But it's not just AAA games. It's also the animation styles we've seen out of X-Men, the animated series 97 version that Disney Plus put out there. Patient zero of woke femme design. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's what they wanted to push. They succeeded, but sales tanked. Yes, they tanked sales by going with this, but tanked sales. They tanked sales by doing this. The evidence is obvious. Look at the state of DC Comics. Look at the state of Marvel Comics. Look at the state of everything that has gone into this ideology of trying to make men or women look like men, trying to make them masculine. Look at, I don't know, Masters of the Universe. I wonder what happened to some of our most beloved characters in there. It's almost like the body model was a man. Well, here we have as to why they did this, boys and girls, and what their justification for it is, because there is no denying that, hey, guess what happens? Humanity, people are visual creatures. We are made in God's image to see things. And guess what? We like beauty. We like beautiful things. If that wasn't the case, museums of art would not exist because people will pay money to walk into a place just to look at something beautiful. Anybody who thinks that is not the case, have you ever never seen a beautiful house or incredible architecture on a building that just inspired you, made your heart swell, and made you go think something that is gorgeous, that is beautiful, that is amazing? Or if you've never seen a beautiful woman walk down the street past you, or a beautiful man walk down the street past you and go, that is gorgeous? Well, if you haven't, or if you think there's anything wrong with that, you, ladies and gentlemen, are the problem in society. I promise you that. So, from Heroic Girls, should we say more? How to De-Objectify Women by John Mercati. Weird. Another self-hating male who is trying to push the beta soy agenda for what? At the end of the day, what every other male is simply trying to do. John's trying to get laid with all of these wokey, crazy, liberal, feminist, crazy women. How'd it work out for you, John? Did the destruction of Western civilization, did it get you laid, John? I hope it did, buddy, because we've lost a lot because of your stupid article and your idiotic reasons and sense. And ladies, how do you feel about being told by a man how to de-objectify you and make you look strong in animation and in modern pop culture? Probably just another white male telling you what to do and think. By Renee DeLiz. Well, now wait, John McCarty. Why do we have two different names on here? Because we've got Renee DeLiz, but we've also got John McCarty. Really? So who's this really by? I don't know. Was this inspired by a man? Did John McCarty tell Renee DeLiz to write this? I'm just not sure. It's always weird how you look into all this stuff and it's just a bunch of crazy people behind it at the end of the day. I don't know, but here we go. So by Renee DeLiz, the following is originally posted on Renee's Twitter feed and it's collected and reprinted here with permission. Oh, so John thought this was a good thing to push. Thanks, John. Did it get you laid, John? Did it? So Renee DeLiz says, as an artist, what can I consider if I want to de-objectify and add power to female characters? Now, let's just look right here at our very first picture, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just look right here. Because anybody who watched the original X-Men, the animated series from the 90s, any of us that grew up with it as a kid or watched it later on in life, knows exactly how Rogue's character is supposed to look. Much like what we see our dear sweet Power Girl here. Now, for any of you that have even seen pictures, clips, or the trailers, let alone actually watch the show, considering based on the ratings numbers, the majority of you have not, tell me that that does not look like exactly what they did to our Southern Belle redhead herself, Rogue. And I guess you can call her Auburn if you want to. But our Southern Belle. Tell me that's not exactly what they did to her. This is the blueprint they have used for everything in the modern era. This right here, because of this idiot, Renee DeLiz, this moron who deserves to be shamed for her idiotic takes that for some reason got picked up and sold and bought off by all these idiots in charge of our IPs. Well, what's her reasoning for it? Well, look at this. Here's another thing. You've got all these examples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All different ways we can change it. Now, obviously, we can just look right here at the beginning. We don't have to go to their list, right? Look at the face that they've done, right? Now, instead of having a small, slim nose, now you have this broad man's nose. Instead of having these slender, kind of feminine eyes, now you have these broad eyes that honestly kind of remind me of like Monkey D. Luffy's from One Piece. And instead of having a feminine shapely curved mouth with like at least a little bit of a luscious lips, or I guess you could just say plump lips. I don't know, feminine lips, maybe. Instead, they reduce her lips to almost pencil thin and they make her mouth square. Look at the jaw. Why is there a flat line on the bottom of her jaw? How many women do you see with a flat line and a square jaw like that? Now, is there exceptions to the rule? Of course. But if we're going on an average basis to what an average female looks like, is this it? No. But that was never the goal. You're not supposed to find them pretty. You pig! Women aren't there for you to objectify, you disgusting misogynist. Yeah, except guess what? When you ask women about this, they hate it too. Because everybody likes looking at beautiful things. Doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. There have been rare cases in my very hetero life that I occasionally have seen a couple of men that I was like, that's a pretty man. If I was gay, I'm not. But if I was, that's a very pretty man. And I don't feel bad saying that. And neither should women. This right here comes from a person who has a lot of deep-seated issues, right? A lot of deep-seated self-esteem issues. I don't know what this person looks like. I don't care. Okay. But as we've seen so many times in history, what do you want to bet this is all a self-insert? Because this is what we've seen time and time again. Comes down to blatant, no more than simple jealousy. These people know that not only are they ugly on the inside, they're most likely ugly on the outside as well. And they cannot stand to have anything out there that does not look just like them because it makes them feel bad about the nasty, ugly person they are. And they should feel bad. They should be shamed. Look, not everybody's going to be Salma Hayek. All right. Some of us are stuck looking like Joe Bob. It's just the way it goes. But you know what you can do? You can give yourself a good personality. You can go to the gym. You can eat right. You can take care of some skincare treatments. You can do a little bit of something. You can do all of these kind of things to make yourself a little more attractive on the outside. You can smell right. You can bathe properly. There's a million different things you can do. Trust me, I have seen some of the ugliest people on the planet find very happy relationships. Oh, but that's right. I forgot you were one of those ones who bought off on the feminist lie that says you're a strong, independent woman that don't need no man. So now you're probably at this age, 40, 50, alone with a whole bunch of cats and you drink way too much. Sound reminds me a lot about the people over at She-Hulk, huh? So here's their stupid justifications for this nonsense. Drawing women sexy is an automatic response to many artists. Done without thought, I was like that for many years until I recognized it. Oh, so you can draw beauty. You just choose to intentionally uglify characters. Okay, that makes sense. If you choose to draw women sexy, that's fine. Oh, is it really? Is it? Discussing alternatives and recognizing patterns should not threaten you. Oh, yes, because that's how it always is, boys and girls. Well, this isn't for everybody. You don't have to use this. It's just a suggestion because we know how that always goes. First, it's a suggestion. Then it's a requirement. First, it's nudge. Then it's shove. And then it's up against the wall, comrade. Whether that be in the form of canceling anyone that completely and totally disagrees with them or in any way, or even disagrees with them in the slightest and try to completely and totally ruin people's careers and try to erase them from social media and all of pop culture and just the general zeitgeist as a whole. That's always where this ends up. And that's exactly the stage we were at a few years ago. Fortunately, I have the pendulum swinging back, but that doesn't matter because this kind of stuff needs to be documented. This kind of stuff needs to be remembered. So that way we never allow this kind of nonsense to ever happen again, at least not under our watch. And if we raise our children right, it won't be under their watch either. My intent is to help those who want to promote change in their work, which can be challenging, not to shame those who choose otherwise. Oh, really? How's that worked out since 2016? I choose Power Girl with boob window because she's often objectified and to show even she can be drawn differently if an artist considers certain things. Now, boys and girls, tell me, which Power Girl do you prefer? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm just asking. A common expression in comics, eyes are lidded, mouth is pouty. It's a look to promote a sense of sexiness and lessen personality. Why would it lessen personality? Because she's sexy. Like literally, like the femme fatale has been a classic thing in literature and storytelling forever. A woman who intentionally uses her sexiness to take power. How would that give her less of a personality if she's attractive? Personality and unique first on the right. Think of distinct facial features outside the usual. Promote their eyes. What is she thinking of? Well, she honestly in that picture kind of looks like a demon that's about to eat me. So I'm thinking she's probably about where she's going to get her next snack, which would probably make sense for you too. Number 2, commonly taught way to draw breasts or fully separated circles sticking out. The intent is to highlight sexual appeal. It's not realistic for a hero. Oh, yes. Because now, wait a minute. I thought this was just a fictional universe that only kids cared about. Weird. Now they want to make things realistic. Oh, okay. Right. What's realistic for your hero? Athletes need major support, i.e. sports bras, which have a different look. Consider not all heroes have DDs. Oh, so you're jealous of women with big boobs. Okay, that makes sense. Arms are closer to supermodel size on the left. What fits your hero? If she's strong, she'll likely very built. Give her muscles. Now, wait a minute. You're dealing with a fictional universe with characters who did not get their strength or their powers by going to the gym. They would not look like female bodybuilders. They would not look like men. Wonder Woman, Power Girl, Supergirl, and a whole long laundry list of other female superheroes did not get their powers by going to the gym. You dumb bitch. Sorry. Couldn't help myself. Hands on the left are set in a way to promote the sense of softness. It lessens her power. Be sure hands are set in a way to promote strength. These people are morons. Did anybody ever think that the cover of She-Hulk in a bikini made her look weak? Made her look not strong? Made her not look powerful? No. It made her a fan favorite character. And it wasn't because of just her looks. But of course, it has to be appealing visually or nobody's going to want to keep looking at it. Duh. But maybe that was the idea from the intent. You knew what would happen. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you earnestly believe this. Maybe you're a full-blown cult member, completely and totally possessed by the spirit of the age, and you actually buy into your own bullshit. If you do, I can't even imagine the mental gymnastics you must go through every single day to try to justify this in your mind. It's got to be exhausting. Left, it's common to see the arch and twist in comics. A female arched and twisted to show both cheeks and both boobs. God forbid you want to see the entire physique of a character. Twists in the body are a powerful art tool, but stick to what can be realistically be done and use arches without intent for a boobs butt perk. Oh, so that stage can't, that position can't actually be done. Tell that to every cosplayer I've ever seen who does that exact same pose. Kind of reminds you about the chick whining about the Cowboy Bebop after actually being in a television show or in a movie with completely and totally in a bikini and her underwear, complaining that the outfit was unrealistic and that no woman actually looks like that after we showed her a laundry list of cosplayers that did Jill Valentine way better than she ever did. So yeah, at the end of the day, here we go on that one. The one on the left, she's posing. The right feels like she's standing heroically. Make her overall pose functional versus sexually appealing. Oh yeah, that looks real heroic. That looks real heroic. I've never even seen a man do that pose and look heroic. Heels. Modern heroes are generally used to amplify stance and increase visual appeal. I like them, but if I was a hero, not too realistic. Most important, was it would your character choose? It's very difficult to hear around in stilettos. Perhaps consider low/no heels. Another notion on breasts is your hero has a zipped up top. Don't unzip it. Breasts can easily fall out during hero work, which would be silly. If nothing else, consider what would do this male character, i.e., would you perk out Batman suit's butt and twist him to see both his pecs? Well, I can't tell you how many covers there's been of Nightwing to objectify his ass because he was voted as best ass in the DC universe time and time again. So, yeah, that argument kind of falls flat too. I just touched the tip of the iceberg with this. If you have your own advice, please share it. And boy, have they shared it, ladies and gentlemen, far and wide. From the comic book industry to cartoons and animation to video games and now to the live action era, we have seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery. Anyone? How did you find a woman with a stronger jaw than Harrison Ford? I don't know. It must have been like there was an intent behind it. It almost looked like you must have been going off some kind of blueprint or some kind of plan that had been posted and propagated and pushed around all over everybody in charge of modern pop culture. But hey, we're just crazy conspiracy theorists, right? None of this is real. There was never any intent to kind of destroy or de-objectify any of our characters. No, it's just the way the new artist decided to draw it. There was never any plan. There was never any kind of example put on the backwork. There was never anybody out there pushing an agenda. No, it was just a natural progression of things. Except now we know that that's all a lie. Now we know that the pendulum's swinging back. Now that we know that we're winning. Because boys and girls, the average person, Main Street, Western civilization as a whole, and especially America, has rejected this nonsense. All you have to do is look at the abysmal sales of DC and Marvel. People that do actually do this right and draw beautiful women the way everybody wants to see them, including women, are hugely successful, like Rippaverse or my buddy Hojo over with his Mythicals comic. Or Jason Sandberg, or a million other examples of guys out there in the indie sphere that I can give you. At the end of the day, all people like looking at beautiful things. And these weirdos out there with their ego issues, with their own self-esteem issues, with their own narcissism, want to make the world just as ugly and nasty as they are. But guess what? That's not what most of Western civilizations. And the lie that was sold off to all of these major corporations, this is going to be the new hot thing that everybody's just going to jump on board, has once again proven to be completely and totally false. The go woke, go broke adage is there for a reason. And it's been proven true time and time again. Even though this was all of this idea for this stuff was landed all the way back in 2016, there is no denying that you can see it being propagated in every single aspect of our pop culture in our modern era entirely. X-Men 97, the animated series, anyone? What did they do to our girl Rogue? It's come full circle. It started in the comics and now it's infected absolutely everything. And here is your evidence of that. So anyone out there who tries to tell you you're crazy, you're insane, you're a conspiracy theorist, just show them this video because we have documented the evidence for all of this. So Renee D. Liz, the individual who put this nonsense out on social media and had it literally propagated to everyone, be shamed because you deserve this. You have decimated and destroyed an entire industry and countless IPs. You have lost companies billions of dollars by pushing this nonsense. And guess what? You've lost. Because at the end of the day, the customers and the fans decide what we want, not you weirdos out there with an agenda.